One day after lunch, my father said to me, "The last time I saw my grandfather, he sat in a rattan chair around in the living room." At that time, my father and I were sitting in the open air at a Mexican restaurant in Key West, State, Florida. My father was eating a plate of rice with Mexican beans. He looked up, go on to say, "My grandfather was a hard worker, the man who made the cake, in a workshop down Leominster Street, in the province of Fitchburg." "Tell me about your grandfather's death, Dad." I speak up. Dad doesn't know anything. "What do the others say?" Nobody said anything, and I never asked. My father was silent again, like I used to know. Sacred Heart Church is only about 2. From my house section of the road, in the West Fitchburg neighborhood of Massachusetts, is where my father said goodbye to my grandfather, whom I never met face. It was also the center of my family's spiritual life when I grow up. It is the refuge of workers who want to let go of the sound of the engine running in the office, the nagging of the wife and children, the chemicals unpaid bills, or when people drink too much. That's where I was baptized and went to catechism. Every Monday afternoon after a long day at school, I reluctantly trudged to the church to study for another 2 hours. I still remember the first day. I sat next to my cousin Patty. In his hand was a brand new catechism. When the 2 nuns standing above said we open the book to memorize the first page of 3 questions and answers. Who created me? God made you. Why did God create you? To love and serve Him. What happens when I die? You will be with God forever in heaven. To the fathers in the church, surely my soul is immortal, and I will have eternal life. Reading the Boston Globe on Sunday, I was startled by the article refers to a woman with terminal cancer. Story: one young life is interrupted. Adriana Jenkins doubts the existence property of God, of destiny. She said, "When we die, we dust back to dust." But she often fantasizes about what death, her pain and suffering. She thought she was going to float. Looking up, looking down at those who are mourning for her around the hospital bed. The light dimmed and then turned off. It's a credit the skeptics think, that after, when we die, there's nothing left. I have a close friend who is a biologist who specializes in species live under the sea. Like many people, he believes that death is death forever. This faith of mine does not come from lack of faith or because despair, but because he believed in science. I have faith in the world nature, into the beauty of the unexplored universe around you, on human understanding of the universe. Thich Nhat Hanh also has a firm belief in the possibility of achieving to human understanding. But the master's goal is higher than the collect scientific knowledge. That is liberation and wisdom. Writing these pages from my own experience, Mr. Nhat Hanh offers a surprising alternative to 2 opposing philosophies opposite of eternity and nothingness. Teacher said, "For all eternity I am free. Death and birth are only the gateway to the entrance. Death and birth are game quail catch. I have never been born, nor have I ever cessation. And our greatest suffering is the idea of coming and going back and forth." Repeatedly, over and over again, he advises us to practice looking deeply so that I understand and taste for myself the freedom of the main road between, not caught in both the notions of eternity and nothingness. To be a poet, when explaining the contradictions in life, Master gently lifted the veil of delusional ignorance for us, for allows us, perhaps for the first time in our lives, to learn that the panic of death is caused only by misconceptions and misconceptions only his own mistake. Master's knowledge of life and death is extremely subtle and beautiful. As other subtle, beautiful things, the best way to enjoy is meditation shop in silence. Kindness and compassion come from springs. Thich Nhat Hanh's source of wisdom is a healing medicine, wounds in our hearts. 8 vertical bar. Where do we come from? Where do we go? Where do you come from? I have